These extreme feelings from our childhood that were too big for us to process at the time, the big T trauma, the small T trauma, the feelings of terror, fear, feelings of being inadequate and unlovable, not good enough, unsafe. And those feelings were too extreme for us as children to face, and they were too extreme for us even now without the tools and the processes. So what do? We over it all day long. Over control, overeat, overdrink, overwork, do whatever we can to get over the feelings that we can't feel inside.
Hey, Heal Squad. Welcome back for part 2 of my conversation with Gabby Bernstein. If you tuned in yesterday, you know we are diving deep into her latest book, Self-Help and the Life-Changing Practice of Internal Family Systems Therapy. Today, we're going to be focusing on how you can integrate these teachings into your everyday life, caring for the parts of yourself that feel stuck, learning to show yourself compassion, and breaking free of cycles of overworking and overgiving, which we know all of you in the Heal Squad can be guilty of. If you're looking for tools to create more balance, healing, and joy in your life, Gabby's wisdom will guide you there. So without further ado, Gabby, I know that self-help touches on breaking cycles of high-functioning behaviors like overworking and overgiving. So what are some signs that you're an overgiver, or have maybe some of these high-functioning behaviors?
Love this question. Okay. So signs that you are an overgiver or in some of these overactive behaviors. Are you burned out? Are you overriding yourself and your own well-being? If you're not giving, how do you feel about yourself? And does it feel extreme? Right? So if I'm not giving, I am. Or answer the question. If I'm not giving, who am I? And noticing and really focusing on that, giving yourself that permission to see the overgiving through the lens of a habit and a pattern. And then ask yourself, how long have I been overgiving? How long has it been around, this pattern? And my guess is it might say a long time, a real long time, possibly. And I think when you answer that question, if I'm not overgiving, what am I doing? Who am I? The answer might alarm you, might be a little alarming.
Maybe
And
you're not good enough.
maybe there's a belief that if I'm not giving, I'm not good enough, or I'm not giving, I'm not lovable,
Yeah.
or I'm inadequate. And so the part of us that's a part of us, the overgiver. And it's a part of us that's there because it's based on a belief system. And the belief is very, very clear. You know, it's unique to different people, but may have a common thread, right? If I'm not giving, I'm not XYZ. And anytime we're over anything, right? Over drinking, over worrying, over working, over sleeping, over eating, we are doing something over a deep, impermissible feeling that we don't want to feel.
Like guilt, shame.
The young exiled feelings from our childhood that were too extreme for us to process. This is what in IFS we call the exiles. These extreme feelings from our childhood that were too big for us to process at the time. The big T trauma, the small T trauma, the feelings of terror, fear, feelings of being inadequate and unlovable, not good enough, unsafe. And those feelings were too extreme for us as children to face, and they were too extreme for us even now without the tools and the processes. So what do? We over it all day long. Over control, overeat, overdrink, overwork. We do whatever we can to get over the feelings that we can't feel inside.
Wow. So what do you do if now you've identified? Because I feel like if you identify overworking or overgiving, you're like, well, at least those are good things, right?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of these protection mechanisms, the overgiving is a protection mechanism, right? It's protecting you over anything is a protection mechanism. It's protecting you from feeling something deep inside, the young child, traumatized child inside. And so we sometimes these overings, right? These protectors can be really praised, right? So like
Yeah,
the workaholic is often praised.
I was.
Oh, yeah. Look how successful Maria is. Look how much she can
Yeah.
get done in a day. Look at what she can do. Look how much fame she has. All of that, right? Really praised. But at whose expense, right? Maria's expense.
Yeah.
And even with the giver, right? You can be super praised for that giver behavior.
Yeah.
Oh, we love so and so. They're always going to show up for us. They're always going to do this. They're always going to be there. That's
Yeah.
intense. It's a lot of pressure.
And so, how do you tackle that?
The 4 steps in self help. So, the 4 steps in my book, Self Help, the 4 step check in process. So, when you notice yourself in overgiving mode and you have enough awareness of that, right? You have enough, you can tease it out enough. You can see, oh, there it is again. I'm back in overgiver. Instead of checking out and giving more and more and more and overriding yourself, you would choose to check in. That's the first step. So, you'd focus your attention inward. And then the second step is you'd become a little curious about this overgiving mode and you'd notice where it is in your body. You'd notice if it has any thoughts or feelings or sensations attached to it. You might ask it, how long have you been around? And you might look a little bit more closely and see if there's any images or memories or experiences that come forward. And then when you have a little bit of connection through that curiosity, you'd compassionately connect to that part of you with the third step, which is you'd ask the part, what do you need? And then the part will say something like what you said in the last episode, things like, I need to rest. I need a hug. I need a break. I need to feel ease. I need to nap. I need to be a child again. And then you'll notice the shift inside. Then you'll look for the C qualities of self. You'll see, do I feel a little bit more calm? Do I feel a little bit more connected? Do I feel compassion towards myself? Do I feel curious about this part of me? And as you notice a little bit of that self energy coming through, even the slightest molecule of those C qualities of self, calm, compassion, courage, connection, clarity, creativity, even those little molecules of C qualities of self, if you notice them, Maria, you've done the work. This is the practice. And then you'll feel a little bit more calm. So you might, just might, not go and start overriding yourself today. Or you might
Yeah.
pull it back a little bit, or you might say, you know what? I think I need a break right now. And so if you practice this 1 minute a day, 1 minute a day, you'll experience transformational relief inside. You'll start to experience a shift inside. You'll start to access more self energy. You'll realize, oh, wow, there's an inner parent, an inner healer inside of me that can help me in these moments. I just have to do the 4 steps and check in with it. And then one day at a time, you start to feel more trust in self. And you have a place to turn to. Instead of checking out, you can start checking in.
So basically, it seems like it's an everyday practice that will accumulate to a place of healing. Like, it's not like you're going to do it once and be healed.
No, but you did it with me just in the last episode and you felt relief, right?
Yeah. And I saw my dad come through the door and he was great. Thank God. But I feel like, um, on a side note, and you might have already done this, but it would be really cool if you recorded yourself asking us these questions
I
where we
have
can hit
11.
pause.
I have 11. I have
Okay,
11
good.
self-help check-ins. They're inside the Gabbie coaching app. And there's
Love.
also 3 in the resources section. So when you order the book, we give away 3 of those check-ins. Yeah.
Great. Because then it's like, if like anything, if you hear it multiple times, you'll eventually remember them yourself and you'll be able to do it in the same cadence. Like I can hear Dr. Joe's meditations in my head without him being on. If I don't have
Oh
it, I
yeah.
can just do it.
And
So,
the good news is you have me now in your pocket with my app. And anytime you notice the controller part, which we worked with in the last episode, you can check in with me. You
mhm.
check in with the part, but I can help you check in.
Yeah. No, I think that's so great. So my team that helps me produce this show, Gabby, who's on the team, actually did IFS
Great.
work. And so Gab, I'd love for you to share your experience with it. Like what can you share of where you were at and where you got with it?
Yeah, so I did it. So I was doing talk therapy, and my therapist introduced IFS to me when I was really getting to some deeper places and trying to uncover some things. And I remember the first time that we had done it, she had me kind of walk through the same thing that Gabby walked you through. But it was in the midst of, expressing, I don't know why I feel this way, but I do. And through some of that work in this first session that we did this, she helped me identify something that I've never actively thought or said out loud. It got me to say, she was, well, what is that part saying? What is it? What is it? What is it telling you? How does she feel? And the feeling was, I'm not good enough. And
Mm.
I've always been a confident girl. I've always been, I relate to what you guys are saying in terms of being controlling or bossy or being the need to handle everything. And so I've always been that way and independent and confident and, praised all of those things. But it brought me to this place of like, oh, I do all of that because I'm scared I'm actually not enough as who I am. So I show up in this big way. I show up confidently. I show up as the independent person, as the leader, or I try and, handle everything and be the reliable person. And it's really because I'm scared that without those things, what you were saying is the overgiver or the overworker, I'm
The
not enough.
overcompensator, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and that was the first time I did IFS, and I was shocked, to say the least, because I that's not something that I actively am thinking over and over in my head, And then I've identified now, having done it so many more times, I've been able to almost personify the parts of me, and
Beautiful,
so
Gabby. That's so cool.
thank you. So doing it with my therapist, she, we identified different. I kind of would describe them as different ages. So I'd say, oh, that's 19-year-old me, or that's 13-year-old me when I had this really big argument with my dad. And that was one of the moments when I realized, if I get bigger, if I get louder, I'm going to be seen and heard by my dad, because that was such a breakthrough moment in our relationship. But then that taught that part, oh, I need to be big and loud and firm in how I feel in every scenario. And that's not always the case. And so my therapist, shout out Sarah, my therapist, she, said that part is valuable and served a purpose. And what you're saying, Gabby, with the compassion, thank you so much. And when it comes up, you saying thank you so much, but I don't think that I need you in this moment. I think I can handle it. Or I don't need to feel that way, or we don't need to do that in this situation. And so, kind of talking to myself, it sounds a little weird, but talking to that version of myself has really helped.
Yeah, and I think that you'll find such joy in the check-in because you're doing the IFS with her, and then the check-in's like a truncated version of that
Yeah.
process. And so you can now check in with that overdoer or however you would define those parts of yourself. And you
Mhm.
can check in with them more frequently and give them that relief of self in the moment. In the moment.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I definitely wanna try these 4 steps because I haven't quite done it on my own. I'll do like I kind of recognize that she's there and I'm like, "Okay, we're good," but I don't go through the
So that's
steps as
actually why the steps will
consciously.
be really valuable for you guys
Yeah.
because the we're good, or you don't need to do that. Actually, it's like she's a little girl inside being like, yeah, I need to do that, right? So
Mhm.
instead of having to tell her that to do anything differently, you just check in with
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
It's about getting into relationship with the part of you.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. I'm like,
Nice
I'm
work.
learning so much.
Well,
Well,
I
I'm
think
proud of you.
also it's so cool when you say bossy because
Mhm.
I just think about the fact that when Kevin met me, he's like, you ran this roost from go. I was the boss in that house, but I had to be the boss in that house. I had to be the translator for the family because no one spoke English. I had to help my mom with everything. I had to, take care of my dad. And so when you look back, it gets so crazy because sometimes we just became different versions. We're not even who we are. We became these people. Like, I think my natural state is so, so different because I see her pop out sometimes. And that part of me, sometimes I'll feel guilty because I'm like, oh, she's lazy. Because I remember my parents saying I was lazy. I was just so calm and like at those moments.
Mm,
And they shamed me into thinking that I was lazy and that I needed to work harder. When my dad would say it, you lazy, Maria, you lazy. I'm just realizing it now. This is why I love this show and I love doing this because it just gets us to think and we never have time to think. But that's when I became a workaholic. That's when I started running every organization in school and in church and never, stopping.
yeah.
But my nature really is like just play with Athena before it used to be to play with my dogs and just go for a hike. It's my nature. I've gone
That's
against
your
my
self.
nature.
That's your self energy. And so the more you do these 4 steps, the more you can return to that natural state, the
Yeah.
natural role, your natural role, which is to be childlike and relaxed and calm.
And I always loved shopping at Macy's. Ah! Happy 2025 Hill Squad. Did you guys receive a Macy's gift card over the holidays? Well, we hope to see you soon because Macy's has some amazing deals still going strong. Whether you're treating yourself to something that you have been eyeing or picking one up that maybe you missed on your gift list, Macy's has you covered. From fashion to beauty to home goods, the perfect New Year's refresh is just a click away. Shop now at Macy's.com and take advantage of these post-holiday deals while they last. Happy shopping. Someone get me some throat medicine there. Happy shopping, friends, and cheers to starting a new year in style. Bad hair days, not in my world. Thanks to Way. Whether you're looking to hydrate, smooth, or repair your hair, Way's got you covered with high performance, good for you formulas that truly deliver. One of my must haves is their leave in conditioner. It's my go to for detangling and keeping my hair looking flawless, even when I'm in a rush. Your hair deserves some extra love, friends. And with Way, every day can be a good hair day. So go to theway.com. That's THEOUAI.com. Use the promo code Heal Squad. You'll get 15% off your first order. So, now that we've identified that Gabby and I are both little bosses, and now we know that it comes from a place, and now that we have self-help to help us, I feel like we are on our way to, like you said, reconnecting to our true self and 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 at least being able to be more mindful um, about where all this is coming from and how it is, even though it is us, it's separate from us, right?
Yeah, the parts of us are we're made up of all kinds of parts. We're not one mono person. So all these parts are these little people inside of us, like little children inside. And they they're the whole they're all in this beautiful experience that we're having internally, but it's in a lot of chaos. But when we practice these 4 steps or go deeper with IFS therapy, we can create harmony inside. And then these parts can work together and they can support each other and they can calm each other down. And there can be a harmonious experience of the internal family system, not the external family, the inner family of parts.
And the inner family of parts, is that just you?
Yeah.
Right? Is it a family of one?
No, it's you and all these parts.
You and all these parts. So it's
Self is
your
the
family
parent,
of
self is
you.
the internal parent, and then you've got all these little parts inside that are the family of you. Exactly.
Interesting.
I always looked
Um,
at it as I am the parent. I am overseeing all these little versions of me, and it's my responsibility to make sure that they're all okay and they all are, like you're saying, Gabby, safe. I guess I've never thought of it as safe, but to make sure that they're all taken care of. And I think it's interesting the way that you've shared the steps and the way that you can actively check in. I'd be interested to know, is there a limit to the number of parts we can identify within ourselves or be able to work on? Or is it kind of like you have to work on one at a time?
No limit at all. And what you'll do is you'll notice when you're going through the 4 steps is that other parts are gonna start to emerge. So,
Ah,
with
Yeah,
Maria in the last
true.
episode, the controlling part, and then there was sort of a worry part that started to come in. That wasn't the controller, that was another part. And so, you'll see more and more parts start to be revealed. And you may wanna say, "Okay, we'll bookmark that guy and we'll come back to her tomorrow," or come back to him tomorrow or whatever it might be. And or later, just say thank you for showing up. I appreciate the guidance.
so, Gab, you've talked about how spiritual practices can complement therapeutic work. What would be your number one spiritual tool that you lean on?
Prayer, 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 prayer. I write about it in the book actually. We may have times when the parts feel too far from reach. We don't actually have enough capacity to witness. And in those times, my cat really likes this episode. She keeps coming back. In those moments and in those times, and we may not have the access to check in. We might not think, okay, I can't even actually go in. So what can we do? We can pray. We can pray for help. We can say, I'm struggling in this moment and I need help. That's enough. And that prayer might give us a little bit of access inward, or that prayer might just relax us a little bit. But prayer is an offering. It's a surrendered moment. It's a chance to let go.
And you could ask, what's the part I need to connect to right now? Just like you're asking yourself these other questions.
You can absolutely. Who do I need to? Or you can just check in with the feeling, whatever feeling you might be having in that moment. You can check in with the feeling.
Do you pray every night?
I pray all the time, Maria. I'm always praying.
I feel like I am too. Or thanking God. Like every 2 seconds, I'm like, thank you, God, for my baby. Thank you, God, for my baby. Thank you, God, for my healthy, happy baby. All day. I'm sure you're the same way, but also like I wake up and one of my practices is to say the things I'm grateful for right off the bat. Thank you, God, that I can get up out of bed. Thank you, God, for
Yes,
that light. Oh my God. Thank you, God, for this cozy bed. Thank you, God. And it just starts the day right.
totally. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And then ending with prayer always too. Always helps. I also think what's also exciting about this work is what you said, not only with the quote, the clouds blocking the sun, but just the creativity that can come back into your life. That's something that's
Yes.
so exciting for me.
Yes. Self is a creative energy. So when we unburden ourselves from these parts and they can start to relax, more creative energy starts to emerge. And creative energy is childlike and it's joyful. And that creative energy has the power to heal us and it has the power to inspire new projects and new ideas. And it's the energy that we can play with our children with, which I'm noticing I have a part that's conscious of the time because I have to go make my child dinner before my next interview. And
I
then
love it. What are you going to make?
oh joy, I don't
What does
know.
he eat?
Pizza, pasta, something, burgers, lots of
Okay.
burgers.
I made the most delicious, juicy burger anyone has ever eaten in their life today. So we should make burgers next time I
That
see you.
sounds really good.
Oh no, Gab, it was off the chain, the greatest burger of my life. Now, I will say Wolfgang Puck trained me, so I
Okay, well,
really know the
there we go.
secret. A lot of
I
salt,
need
a lot
that
of pepper,
training.
guys.
A lot of
Yeah,
salt and pepper.
a
Yeah.
lot of salt and pepper, like 5 times what you would ever think is normal. That, and then you only flip it once. You let all the blood come up. And once you see the blood come up, that's when you flip it. You never flip it
Yeah,
otherwise.
but you would hate me. I like a burnt burger.
Oh, I like it juicy.
I know
In
we've gone to a
fact,
steakhouse together. We don't do the same. We can't share. We
in
are not
fact,
sharing.
Gabby, I have 2 more burgers I'm about to go make right now for
Go
me and
make
my
the
dad.
burgers. Go eat the
So
burgers.
you're gonna go feed your child. I'm gonna go feed my dad.
It's
Um,
burger time. Ollie says burgers.
When I pick Athena's nose and I go booger. Now she says booger, booger. I'm like, am I teaching my baby to pick her nose? This is so bad. I'm teaching her all the worst things. Show me your food. Bah. We have a lot of fun. Anyhow, Gab, always amazing
I
to have
love
you.
you.
I
I
love
love you.
you. And
Gabby, thank
guys,
you.
if you're feeling as inspired and empowered as I am after diving into this latest book, Self Help, you guys can get it wherever books are sold. We'll put a link below. And in the meantime, be nice people, make good choices, and be present.
Hey, Heal Squad. We have been on quite the journey together, and we're hearing from so many of you just how much this show is helping you heal and get better, and it makes us feel so good. We love, love, love it, and we just ask that you don't keep it to yourself. Spread the message and share the show or your favorite episode with your friends. And if you want to help us even more, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at Heal Squad. You can also DM us anytime because we love connecting with you. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon for our monthly live heal events with world-class healers and ad-free episodes exclusive only to Patreon and our Super Heal Squad for as little as $10 a month. So go to patreon.com/Heal Squad to join. Getting better isn't easy, friends, but as I say all the time, it's a whole lot easier if we can do it together. We love you all so much, and we love doing this thing called life with you.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.